Boom. Hopefully that works really smooth. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming in the figure RPG, because whatever. Welcome to the channel. We play lots of tabletop, mainly Dungeons & Dragons at the moment. Carbon 2185 returns this Thursday, which is 5e, but Cyberpunk. We're doing some Pathfinder 2nd Edition beginners sessions. I've got 3 parties that'll be happening over the next few Mondays and Fridays when we sort the parties out. So if you like tabletop, you like rolling dice, you like watching stories unfold before your very eyes, you're in the right place. So, let's go through we got sponsors, they're great, but we'll do social media first. We're all over social media. We're on Instagram, that hardly gets used, but it will get used in the new year when I start going outside more and putting my bald head in geeky situations. Take from that what you will. We got Twitter, which I use basically to spout the odd word of wisdom, like, oh look, I wrote about halflings today. And then you can follow us and see what's going on. We got a Discord channel, which I'm assuming the link's still live and not one of those 24-hour things that I usually copy and paste. So hopefully that should still go. If it doesn't, put it in chat and then we'll change it. Discord is used sometimes quite a lot, sometimes it's silent for a little bit, but if you keep on it and talk to us, we'll talk back. Let's go to Twitter. We're on Facebook. Again, the Facebook's used to announce stuff, so that's cool. Yeah, just keep an eye on stuff and followers, and the notification will tell you when we're live and all that good stuff. What's that? Yeah, that's all cool. Followers. Sponsors, Loke Battle Mats, who are just about to do or just have released a Kickstarter with science fiction-y battle maps and such and tokens and all that palaver. I shared it on Twitter, I shared it on Facebook. Go check them out. They sponsor us. 2, their maps are brilliant. They've won awards for them. Every time they've released a Kickstarter, it's immediately been funded and some. They're really good at what they do. They have big book of battle maps, giant book of battle maps, and they're literally flip out maps. You put them on your table, boom, you've got an A3 size map to run around in a forest, a dungeon, a ritual circle, you know, a hellfire and all that good stuff. They got a lot of tokens that go with them, like your fireball templates and such. Really cool. So go check them out. They also do all digital versions of their things, so if you're wanting to run them on Roll20 or Foundry or Fantasy Grounds or any other virtual tabletop that you use, you can use them in that as well, which I do pretty much 99% of the time. So that's cool. I'll say Syrinscape because it's going on in the background. I should have paused it before I did all this stuff, but we'll go with the ambience straight away. Syrinscape are not an official sponsor, however we use their sound sets and their app and their good stuff for everything. Everything we run on the channel is Syrinscape, used for its ambience. That's a Spanish accent, not a French, just to clear that up. So check out Syrinscape, they're super cool. I use chibi tokens for my Cyberpunk games and my fantasy games because I am a stupidly big fan of chibi artwork. I love it. It's the only thing I accept as cute in my life, including the kids. And so Coyote Grey, if you go to Roll20's market and put Coyote Grey in there, you'll get to all his chibi tokens. They're super cool. They're like $5 or $4.99 if you're completely convinced by the 1 cent cheaper. I'm Yorkshire. You get that moderator banned right now. Go check out Coyote. Dave, you're getting a pay rise. You now pay double what you paid before. Nothing. So, Coyote Grey, go check them out on Roll20. Super cool. And again, you can download the tokens and use them on what you want to use if you're using virtual tablets. So I'll print them off, make little pins, and then stick them on something. And you've got them running around your table as well, which is badass. But yeah. Ashana is unfortunately not streaming at the moment because she's moving around. And it's quite difficult to keep a streaming schedule whilst you're moving. But if you go check her out on Instagram and stuff, you can see the glass work she's done over the last couple of years. It's so cool, so talented. Whether they be little miniatures or little nods to MMOs she's played or other people have played, or just a sea creature. Sea turtles are super cool. Really badass stuff. And as soon as she's resettled and that, we'll be bugging her again. So go check out them. Ruffworx Creative is just literally on my top 3 that I if you know what the top 3 is, you know what the top 3 is. But Ruffworx is in mine. So go check him out on Facebook. He never uses his social media. However, there are photos on there, a lot of the work he's done and doing when we push him to put it up there. He's so talented, it's incredible to see his work. All leather, all woodwork, all handcrafted, blood, sweat and tears. He's an absolute talent and should do more and more. He has, and they will be going on sale when he's finished them all, made some leather heavyweight gaming cuffs, which I believe this lot have seen. They are super cool, and I cannot wait to steal one for myself and then sell the rest of you one. But yeah, they're very cool. Very, very cool. And so go check out Ruffworx Creative. Arcane Script, you will see, is one of my partners in crime, is Rob. And Arcane Script is, I'm heavy, he's Arcane. You see, we like it, we're nerds, we're geeks, we're into that stuff. It's cool. The stuff that he organises, the source books and stuff that we are releasing. The one that's been released at the moment is heavy as Tasha's Bobs and Boobs.
Literally got it there in
the
chat.
first major supplement by HWG for DnD5e has arrived, maybe a few months ago. Tasha's Heavier Crockpot Bits and Bobs is 81 pages of subclasses, spells, artwork and everything TTRPG player wants. Find it here for $9.95 on DM's Guild, HTTPS, etc. So go check them out. 200 copies sold. It's got artwork in there from our nerdy friends. It's got homebrew in there from our nerdy friends. One of our nerdy friends decided to write 80 new spells. 80. 8-0. So go check that out. Super, super cool. Arcane and Eldritch have got, because we all decided to give us cool nicknames. Arcane and Eldritch are releasing a Traders Compendium, or Compendium, that's right. And it's all the weird and wonderful 5e backgrounds and tool sets, like tools kits, like you get thieves tools kits or chef's tools kit and all this palaver. They're releasing some cool homebrew stuff that gives you actual benefits for being that as a profession and such like. It's a really cool idea. They've got some really cool stuff that they're going into it. So look out.
There's
for
so
that.
many cool backgrounds and
ridiculous.
new classes and subclasses and it's so good.
It's so good. So look out for that. We'll keep shouting about it when it gets released. We'll tell everyone everywhere. In the new year, we're hoping to have it done by the end of next year. We'll be doing a full source book of the nation of Atoria, one of the nations in Colossus, which will be, well, we've already put quite a lot of work into it, and there's a fair bit to go. So once that's all sorted, we'll get that out to everyone and tell everyone about it. Become millionaires, retire to Tahiti. I'm not even sure if that's a place, but I'm going to go there, eat coconuts and gravy, and live off the proceeds of one source book. That's how it works. That's how it works. Is the 53 session campaign? What? Yeah.
I got what they were saying.
Oh, right, yeah. I can't read the title. Oh, this is session 54. It's fine. Don't worry, Kida. This is session 54. Last week was 53. Oh, that's what it should say. Let me have a look. Is that what it says? Yeah, it says 54. That's cool. That's cool. So we got a source book coming out, and then eventually we're going to do a continent source book, which hopefully will be Surut, which will be 7 nations in the source book, so about 9,000 pages of death and sand. That's it, I think. Bits, 200 bits. If you want to throw 200 bits at this sort, they get a free reroll. Bring me up my spiel. Bring me up my spiel, Mel.
I'm coming. Jeez.
There we go. Do you feel sorry for these adventurers? Question mark. Donate 200 bits / cheers to give the party a reroll. Monkey face. They can't be used on the DM or death saving throws. They can only hold 5 at a time, and they don't roll over to next week. So, let them use the 5, give them more, if you so wish. For 200 bits. Social media, blah blah, the books. We're done. Is that good? No,
I'm getting distracted, but yes.
Cool. So, quick recap. They all survived, sort of. So last week they had their fight against the echoes of a few of the party that were brought from their particular realm that echoed their realm. It was all very, Doc Brown. They fought them, they defeated them. They managed to release Ari's brother Stefan from the magical holdings, imprisonment, bad stuff that was happening to Stefan. After having a quick conversation that may have lasted a long rest or two, they discovered that Stefan cannot leave because of a geas that's been put on himself. Bad Stefan, as we're referring to him.
I thought we were just calling them that bastard.
I mean,
that's just Cass.
It's the Fey accent. But so bad Stefan went back to this lot's realm. Good Stefan has remained in the Echo realm. I should write way simpler plot. And
With Jeremiah.
With Jeremiah, and Nikolai currently has the the bracelet that belongs to good Stefan. There is a gear spot on them, which is keeping him stuck there. They're going to go back, kill everyone, all will be good. At least that's the plan. Sapphire decided to stare longingly into a mirror. Returned from staring longingly into a mirror with a bit of a milk moustache that was, let's go with blood red. Then they have all returned.
Not rose red?
No, well, it smelled like rose red, but it definitely looked blood red. They've all returned to their realm. They return to the city of Ravens, which is the capital city in Ravenholm. They are within one of the many temples of the woodcutter. They found a cleric / priest, gave them the diamond that gave them the ability to resurrect their friend and companion and true love, Xandria Summerbreeze, the herald of everything she decides to be herald of.
Coming soon to a season near you.
Yeah, an entire spin-off all on her own. So.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry, can I just clarify something there? You said our conversations lasted a long rest or two, but I don't recall you saying last session you have had a long rest.
You've all had a long rest.
We have all had a long rest, thank you.
Oh, look at that.
Time is wibbly wobbly. You feel rested when you get to the temple.
That's cool. Got a Drea, that's the important part.
Before you did leave or depart and return to the temple, a cleric by the name of Crystal returned to her own realm after discovering a very powerful curative alchemical potion in a harp-shaped bottle and gifted it to Sapphire for whatever he chooses to do with it. And then Crystal returned, hopefully to be used in a level 20 boss fight, because you'll need her.
It was nice having a proper healer.
You're in the temple. The resurrection spell was cast. A wall of vines was created, and stepping through them as if they were a curtain, they fell away and left before you, Xandria Summerbreeze. The priest has taken themselves off to the side to rest from the resurrection magic being cast, and they're just recuperating, and before you is Xandria Summerbreeze. You are all in.
Kess is just gonna run across the clearing and just like pick her up and just spin her around.
Probably for a good thing, because just as that's happening, Xandria is probably going to start toppling forward, you know, not having used limbs or anything for the last however many days it has been. Cass, can you put me down?
You'll put her down.
Thank you.
Sapphire gives her like the gentlest tap, like not a punch, but a lovely, friendly tap on the arm. It's good to have you back. Who's gonna stab everyone if you're not here?
I'm certain you would have found a replacement.
Nah, you can't be replaced.
Well, that's nice to know, I suppose. I hope you didn't get into too much trouble.
That is an actual in-character snort from Ruby.
Sapphire very visibly tenses up a little bit. Goes, no, everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Ruby makes that contract, that eye contact that she and Xandria do now, like, check this idiot out.
Just a okay.
And Sapphire takes some steps back to like let other people in.
I suppose you can fill me in once we're. Where are we? This isn't. Where are we?
The City of Ravens.
More specifically, a temple. We needed a cleric and she sort of like just gestures up and down Xandria.
Well, what happened to Stefan?
Which
Should we
one?
do the short version now and then the long version when everyone's slept and ate and. So we found the right Stefan. He's all right, but he's a bit stuck where he is. The wrong Stefan, the one with the orange. He's in this realm somewhere. We got to get rid of him so we can bring the other one back. But we were more concerned immediately with getting you back, really.
Right. I see.
Details of the violence, like I said, when you've rested.
Oh, by the way, all of you will have noticed the front of Xandria's hair, like probably about this section, this chunk, is white.
As far as Ruby's concerned, it'd be rude to comment on that. Just... Oh, also, sometimes I have wings now.
Oh, well, that is quite a development. Perhaps we should exit this place and maybe find somewhere to talk.
Can you walk yet? Why don't you sit for a few minutes? I'm sure they won't mind.
Yeah, I'd rather we move on, please.
Right, I just want to ask the cleric something. So she will go and sit next to the cleric.
Can I help you?
Oh, well, firstly, I suppose I should ask, be there a fee? We should pay for your assistance today.
There's a moment where the cleric looks across to Ari and then looks back at you. I'm sure I broke my microphone. I'm sure the
Bro streamers.
Bro streamers.
That's why I need this source book.
Matthew Smercer, eat your heart out.
Matthew Smercer. Might need to grow a bit hair. So, looking across at Ari and looking back at you, I'm sure the fee will be taken care of. And then kind of nods towards Ari and then back to yourself.
Seeing that, Ruby also looks at Ari, but with a far more doubtful face, and then looks back at the cleric and says, just very quickly, if I could ask your advice on something. Hypothetically, if a person went through a cursed mirror and accepted a drink without clearing there was no obligation, is there a particular school of cleric or magic you would recommend to seek assistance with that?
That's a very niche scenario. It's not often we learn about it in our studies, but I suppose avoiding a cursed mirror, or are you planning to go through one, or?
No, somebody already has. He's been told he's an idiot, but if he has been cursed, we would like to find out and undo that before it causes any trouble, really.
Have you checked? Can you check? As in yourself, can you check to see if your friend is cursed?
Do a detect magic or prod him with a stick, but not really beyond that.
One would be more successful than the other. Is your friend with you, or are they safely tucked away from mirrors?
Just point and goes. You see this slightly sheepish looking very large lion stood behind me, pretending he's not stood behind me.
I do indeed.
That'd be him.
You step through a cursed mirror and just kind of looks past you to the sheepish lion.
I'll walk over and
Because
like
bad nose and a bad cough and dumb as an headache.
Okay, Matt. It's a very detailed reason.
I'll walk over and just I didn't mean to step through it. I just looked at it. I think I touched it. I was moving it.
There are some magics that force folk to do things against their will. Maybe you were forced, and you can see that they're trying to be like, I'll be on this Tabaxi's side. Just
because Ruby's face is as set. You see what I have to put up with. People accepting drinks from
What?
mystery people.
What is the drink you accepted? Was it a potion?
Okay, so it smelled like rose wine. I took a drink of it, and it was not rose wine. It was very coppery. I believe it may have been blood. I think
There's
mouth is
And he's like
flat line.
he's refusing to make eye contact. He's just like looking sheepishly at the floor.
the cleric is very, for those that are making eyes that way, in a bit of shock, kind of open mouth, not like gasping, just a bit. Okay, that is beyond. And you think the curse is to do with the mirror or the drink? Looking back at you, Ruby.
My money would be the drink.
A curse, a blood curse.
I'm not learned in that area. That's why I'm asking. And even if you don't know,
You see
might
them
know
holding
which
the
school or
wooden
temple
holy
they would
symbol
have some-
in their hand quite tightly now. Just okay. Bringing people back from the dead. Blood curses. Quite the day. Quite
That
the day.
thing back where it came from. Oh, so help me! So help me! Bet you wish you'd shift change now, my guy.
From what you said at the time, Sapphire,
I think
the mirror was just a way to where this
thing was
being
yeah.
was living or being kept, or and now you can hear them.
I mean, I heard them. Yeah, I heard them once.
You hear them.
I heard their voice in my head. After I had exited the mirror and had returned to this realm world.
I have no words for your stupidity.
I do
Ruby's
not.
just like this little gesture, like thank you.
Unfortunately, it is not. It is not of my my skill set or knowledge, but
I understand.
maybe a temple of the Red Lady would know more things. Their faith leans more towards those deceased or those.
They do
of
blood
the
magic,
dead.
don't they? That makes sense.
Yeah, like Ruby's met the Red Lady once. Her face is now set like rock.
I mean, the Red Lady and the Woodcutter are very common deities to be followed in Ravenholm, so.
Yeah, most people haven't met her though.
That is true. That is very true. Jesus. But yes, maybe they could help regarding. It is not necessarily an evil thing if you have fear of that in your friend. Magic is magic. Some folk use different components. I myself rely on the prayers of the woodcutter, or my prayers and the woodcutter returns. I see yourself would probably, and I'm making an assumption here, but maybe magic of the land. Just looking at your attire, Ruby. There's a good chance you ain't a wizard.
Some assumptions are easier than others, yes.
But yes, I wouldn't fear for your friend yet. I mean, has he done you any harm? And kind of leans in quietly, although you can all hear the question.
He hasn't. He could try.
That's not where I was. My apologies. Looking at Sapphire, that's not where I was going with that. Yes, maybe just look into it before. It is rather foolish, though, my friend. Looking at Sapphire.
Yep, I'm aware. I was trapped there. I didn't think I had a choice, so. Yep.
I can dispel curses, but only to a certain strength of power. If the person that cursed your friend is more powerful than I, then it won't work. But the woodcutter is about protection, so it would be an attempt freely given. There'd be no cost for it.
I mean, I wouldn't complain, by all means. I'd be happy to give it a try if you don't mind.
Looks at Ruby for permission. Well, not permission, but just a nod.
Ruby nods. If you're not too tired from casting the other spell, I know they're draining.
It is only late afternoon. I can summon some more. May I? And goes towards you, Sapphire.
Ruby
Yeah,
sort of like
absolutely.
shuffles back out of the sort of
Without letting go of that woodcutter's axe, holy symbol. You see a sort of greenish glow in between the knuckles and the fingers beneath as they start to concentrate on their magic. They have something in their hand that they seem to crush, and dust falls from the other hand as if whatever component it was has just been consumed. And they whisper a prayer to the woodcutter. Sapphire, can you roll me a d20, please? Just flat d20.
you said we wouldn't need dice today.
15.
I said,
That's just how you get
wouldn't need-
demons.
15.
Yep, 15.
You feel like a tug, like a jerking of your shirt forwards, but you notice you've not actually stepped any closer towards the cleric or towards anyone else, but you just react as if someone's giving you a push in the back or a pull forwards. You have a quick look around, there's nothing there, and as you settle back on the cleric, you see blood running down the cleric's eyes, and the cleric just backs off. I cannot, and then they start wiping at their eyes. I cannot break that. It is beyond my skills.
Are you okay?
They sit down. They sit down quite quickly.
Ruby does the healing hands. She tried to pat Stefan comfortingly on the shoulder and he got better, so we're gonna do again the steadying hand.
Are you using a spell or are you using your racial trait?
I'm using the racial trait,
Cool.
healing hands, which gives him 8 hit points back.
As you do that, he puts his hand on your hand as you're like where you're placed to healing. Forgive me, I did not know, but thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Didn't know what, love.
Your presence, I was unaware. My apologies.
Just me.
He is wishing he did not get up this morning.
I just want to.
Just want to cut wood.
Don't apologise.
The cleric's now looking at the rest of you, like in confusion, as if Ruby's trying to pull his leg.
Kess is just like still just like has not stopped like being in
he's not,
Xandria's
this
like
close
immediate.
to Xandria.
Two heads.
Harry's
Snap.
pretty much the same, to be fair, so, you know.
Just either side of it, just like.
But yeah, Ruby's now a little bit like, perhaps we've put too much strain on the poor man, so she's sort of like, well, thank you very, like, he'd go bonkers, isn't he?
Wiping the.
So she's like,
go on.
well, thank you so much for your help today and for trying to help with the curse. We've clearly exhausted you, so we'll be off. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And my lord nods to Harry. Just nods to you, but in like a double nod to you, Ruby, and then looks at Sapphire. Fight it as long as you can until your friends can break the curse. Just throws it out there.
Lord,
Sure?
my deity, fuck that guy.
Ooh boy!
Damn!
Sapphire, like,
Thank God
he's
Ghost
always got
said-
really good posture. Sapphire's always got this, like, monk stance. And he just kind of slumps. Like, his whole body just... And he just kind of flumps down onto the ground near the priest. And just... Okay.
It will be fine.
This could
these
always be
people-
worse.
At least this one cares for you dearly, and to have one such as herself care for you is a gift.
Ruby is now seriously looking at him like he's taken a blow to the head. Like, she's all but running a medicine check to see if he's got a high fever. Like,
I mean, the guy's bleeding from his eyes.
I mean,
feel
no
like it
medicine
wouldn't
check
take
needed. You need a dice roll. Please return if I can help. Maybe tomorrow, so I can rest. There are others and those higher up than me in the temple that could help. But the city of Ravens is vast, so take care. And just kind of gestures, leave me alone.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Shift
that's
is over. I want to go home.
I've been here for 16 hours.
Yeah, it's like I had 8 minutes left of my shift when you arrived. It was a 10-minute
Yeah.
plastic ritual, and now they're.
Can we have a full mixed grill, you bastards? So do you leave?
Yeah, so Ruby sort of like nods to him again and starts heading for the exit, like glaring at the others, like you heard the man get out.
You heard the man.
Yeah, we should go try and find somewhere for the night.
I'm sure Ari can use his supernatural ability to find an inn or tavern of some sort.
Just to bolster the description of Raven, the city of Ravens, it is a metropolis, which, considering, we're in ye olde fantasy, you're talking, 40, 50,000 people easy. It is
Buildings
the
higher than 2 or 3 stories.
Definitely. It is an absolute awe-inspiring landscape to see the architecture of this dark iron and cobblestone city spread so far in all directions. Ari, you are aware, I mean, the number fluctuates, but you reckon there's nearly 40 districts in the city of Ravens of varying claims to, the merchant district, the dock district. They've got fanciful names, basic names. They change now and then. Nobility live in several of the districts. There are many families, not quite as highly reputable as like the House of Eagles and such, and the main houses of Ravenholm. But there are elements of smaller families from the House of Eagles that live in the city. Like, all the major houses are represented in the city, plus a few smaller ones. It is the most... It is Gothic Camelot. Don't quote me on that anyway.
Alright, I'm writing it down now. It's fine.
Gothic Camelot.
Gothic.
Let me get a t-shirt. But it is...
And you said you'd been there before, but like...
Not, you haven't
I'm
spent a lot
presuming-
of time there, but Ari has been to the city of Ravens, your family and such.
We've passed through before very quickly.
So what you actually did is you hit the docks, said
and
goodbye
ran.
to Romerick, and left. That's literally what you did last time. So you are aware of this massive city. Ari's just got a few more details remembered, because you're obviously here for longer than a high five. Gone.
Yeah.
But that's what I was just trying to... Because obviously if it's massive, he's not going to know...
You won't know
A
it
lot of
like,
it.
yes, for example, whatever you tell me in the House of Eagles provinces, I'll go with. The City of Ravens, you can guess. It's just a bigger version of all the other places you've been. But you won't know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
But it ain't hard to find an inn and a tavern in a city.
I mean, yeah. No, that's fine. I was just like, let me just check again. Okay,
I mean,
you'll kind of...
based on that, Ari's probably got like a cousin or someone who could put us up in their mansion.
Maybe.
Whether he's still on speaking terms with
Oh,
it
well,
is another thing
that-
entirely, but...
That's true.
Yeah, not been home for 20 years, remember?
10 years.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say, are you 26 or 36? I keep...
It changes a lot. I can't remember. A long time. 15 years? I don't know. A long
It was
time you
10.
haven't been home.
It was 10 last time. You
Whatever.
said it for anyone who watches and cares.
Listen, I've slept since then, okay?
I've been on for
Many
60
times.
years.
60 years! No.
So,
Um,
do you leave the temple?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. As
Leave
you,
the
Very
poor man
shake-
alone.
Very shakily, but yes.
you leave the
Sapphire's
temple,
walking.
and it is
Sapphire's
busy.
very quiet. Very, very quiet. Head down. Trudging.
To trudge. It is very quiet. I'll completely delete that sentence. It is very busy. People all around you. It is a late afternoon going into early evening sort of time. If you... Yeah, you all pretty much feel it. I think you felt it when you got here last time. Xandria, you're quite... I think acute is the word to it. Are aware that winter is very much taking hold. So whatever passage of time has happened, you are into the beginnings of winter. It's busy. People all around you, bustling. Cobblestone streets, rammed. What do you do?
To the grave,
as we are
stole out like
walking,
crabs.
as we are walking, like as we get out, and obviously everything heightens. Xandria flinches, but then like catches herself as like it looks like she goes for another one.
Okay.
Ari, is there somewhere you would recommend? This is more your area than ours, but I'm aware we're light on gold.
Yeah, we are. I have a vague recollection of like some taverns down by the docks, but that's pretty. There
When
should
you
be
say down
Toodles.
by the docks, like, Kess will kind of glance very quickly at Drea, who is noticeably flinched when just leaving the temple, so...
Remember, you
Yeah,
all,
kinda-
when you travelled here, it was an inaccurate destination. So you
Yeah.
are somewhere in the city rather than knowing where you are.
That's
We
what I'm
didn't
trying to
pass
say.
it,
Like,
so that feels like a long walk.
yeah, he's kind of. I think he feel like he's trying to get his bearings as to where he is right now because he's obviously just been dumped in a temple somewhere, and he's like, it's a bit like when you've been somewhere before, but you're kind of like trying to reorientate yourself.
Do you want me to go up high and see if I can see anything that looks tavernish?
I'm pretty sure if we picked a direction and threw a rock, you'd probably find one, but I wasn't sure if...
And
Oh,
I'm,
that
Harry.
makes sense.
I'm
could
not
just do
often
this-
in towns, but we could ask a person for directions.
I was gonna say, just
There's
do the
people
sensible
everywhere.
thing and ask somebody walking past.
Look, you got 3 himbos in the party. You think any of them have ever asked for directions?
Yeah.
I mean, Sapphire's
We
thought
didn't get this far in this campaign asking for directions.
Before asking for directions, Sapphire thought, I'll climb on the roof of a building and look around. Like, this is the party you're working with.
However, I do need to know what you're doing.
Ari is gonna kind of try and reorientate himself a little bit, but again, kind of glancing at Drea, kind of being like, yeah, we can't really go too far. It'll more
Give me
just kind of.
A perception check as you're kind
Okay.
of eyeing the place up, looking around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give me a perception check.
What's my Oh, I do need my character sheet, see?
Perceptions, whatever your wisdom is, unless you have proficiency.
No, I have
so.
proficiency. Come on, I'm a rogue. 17.
17.
Yes.
You see a couple of signs that are more titled signs rather than this shop is called X. You feel it's more towards the naming of the particular district you're in, and it is the Bani district, which roughly translates into common as coin or money district.
Ah, that's not where we should be.
Maybe no.
Oh, money boys over here. Let me see. I did actually write it down. I think we had 100 gold left, kids. And that was a while ago, so.
There is a
Oh, wait.
stables with a single horse. Just
And one little
No.
girl going, I told him so.
yeah. Brought it all the way here for you. Guess just killed it. So,
Ari is sort of
Wow.
like looking around, Ruby will again, like, sort of side-eye Xandri and just say, "You cold?" If she's kind of like,
It is cold, Andrea, and like I say, you are aware of it, but how much that is affecting you is up to you.
Oh, she looks like she's withholding herself from shivering, but as usual, we'll just reply with, "I'm fine."
Yeah, Ruby takes off a cloak.
Insight check.
Guess
Ruby doesn't
you don't
even-
need to make an insight check, guess.
Yeah, Ruby doesn't bother. She just takes off the outermost one of cloaks and just, like, drapes it over Xandria and says, "We must be well past Samhain now, and you haven't even got a coat on."
Oh, also,
Fucking mum over
at
there.
noticing that Drea is shivering, Kess will just straight up walk over to Ari, start undoing the scarf, and just bring it back over. Like,
Yeah.
not a single word. Like, just you're looking, and all of a sudden, there's just arms and hands, and just it's gone.
But yeah, even despite having said you're
And
fine,
back
you
on.
now have hanging off your shoulders, probably stinking, but surprisingly heavy, warm,
Yeah.
like tow and woolen cloak.
What scarf are you nicking?
What one do you think?
A gold
Awesome
sash, you
one.
know.
No,
Well,
gold sash.
Have you not? Who's
The
got?
death save throw one, you tosser.
I have not heard tosser for a decade.
I'm like you to imagine this is like Kess and Ari just having a little handbags at dawn slap fight over Ari's scarves in the middle of a street.
So, Cass, you're removing the Autumn's Fall
Yes.
and giving it back to Xandria, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Cool. Unless initiative is needed. Xandria, you now are back in possession of Autumn's Fall.
As Kess puts the scarf back on, Xandra just kind of looks down as he's like putting it in place. Oh, that's where it went.
Harry took care of it for you.
I see. Oh, glad it went to some use. No good on me.
It's back in its proper place now.
cool. Didn't know about that. Yeah, Ari's just kind of focusing on trying to find somewhere that doesn't look too expensive, but also isn't too far. And is like just letting you do whatever. He's like, yeah, whatever. He's kind of looking for somewhere that's like close by. But yeah,
Fantasy Travel Lodge, please.
basically, yeah.
But I suppose we're also in the money district, so I suppose technically Fantasy Ibis.
So,
Yeah.
so within this district, as folk are dressing Xandria, Ari, you do see that there is a fair amount of wealth passing these cobbled stones. Everyone's doublet or double-breasted thing that Luke will eventually correct
Both
me
are
on.
correct.
Yes! One day. I'll be
Different
a
items of
fashion
clothing,
artist.
but both are
There's-
items of clothing.
There you go. You see everything. You see everything. It's very much similar to how Ari is dressed. There is an element of money gone into the kit. People are walking around. There are couples linked arm in arm. There's children walking with parents. Any animals you see are all very well kept and well behaved. There's not the jolly street dog that's running up to anyone or anything like this. All the shops here, they don't seem to have any of the overhanging shelters and lean-tos attached. It's walk through a door and you will be in the shop. There's no tat hanging outside. There's no.
We're not welcome here,
There's,
guys.
there's no.
Fantasy Harrods is just around the
It
corner.
feels as if there is a lack of what maybe a few of you would call personality to some of the shops around here. Ari, you do see quite a fair amount of coinage symbology on some of the buildings, which would probably lead you to think they are banks. The city of Ravens is almost every human in Ravenholm claims lineage to the nobles of Ravenholm. Its history is steeped in humans and their glorious rise to empires and such. So it still holds a very keen personality, especially here in this district. As you all know, when money hits those sort of folk and those sort of egos, there's a very obviousness to it. No one seems to bat an eyelid, though, at how you five present yourselves, as if folk similar to yourself are common here, or at least seen. Adventurers with quite a lot of gold and platinum and treasures and riches and such to, you know, bring around, sell on, look after, cash in, all that palaver, probably come through, you assume, more than one of these coin districts in the city. But that also goes for the drinking establishments or eating establishments. They are kind of separated from what you see as the banks or shops that seem to be, if you look in any of the windows, there's jewellery beyond it. It's all very, there's any decoration you see in these shops, whether it be reds and purples and silvers and golds, none of it's bright, none of it's shiny. It's not shiny silver or shiny gold. It's almost a dulled, deliberately dulled part of the decor around a lot of, like I say, grey stone and dark iron architecture, including like the window frames and such. Everything is very, take the sheen off. They don't need it.
Old money, not new money.
Old
kids.
money, not new money. There'll be none of that Scottish tenor in here. But
It's a brave Yorkshireman we have, I see.
What's the phrase? I think
thousands of
you'll
miles away,
find
it's fine.
that's legal tender.
Just saying, one of us, our notes say sterling on it, and it's no yours.
Chat's joining in.
That's great, but it's legal Tinder. Okay. That's totally different.
What version of Tinder are you using?
Yeah. So, but you do see some establishments that serve drink and food and such. And again, their outside furniture is very much, it's well placed, it's well sat. There is a lot of wealth in this particular district. And the closest one you see to you is the Inn of 1,000 Names. It stands out, it catches your eye a little bit more than the others, because it is incredibly rare to see any architecture in any of the cities of Ravenholm to be built upon, extended, changed in any way. But there is where normally the architecture is very tall and imposing, and spires and creatures in stone sat up on the top of the buildings, this has a slight elegance and archway curvature to the entrance to this inn. Yeah, I reckon all of you probably, in fact, all your time in Vey, there is an elven design to the arches on the front of this inn of 1,000 Names.
Got a kind of Art Nouveau meets Japanese slant to
Yes,
it.
yes. And that's the closest inn. There are others, but you'd obviously just have to walk further.
He'll kind of have a feel on his pouch and be like, yeah, we'll be alright. Look at Andrea more and be like, yeah, we need to go in here. And kind of just be like, this one looks pretty good.
Lead on.
And he leads the party into the tavern.
So you're off into the Inn of 1,000 Names?
Yep.
Cool. Insert tavern noise. Let me just the joys of running in a city is I get to use every single thing in Syrinscape.
Tavern and taverns. We're back in tavern and tavern, kids.
Tavern and tavern.
Taverns and trauma. That's what we're doing.
Oh yeah, we're back in there. Back in that
So
one, yeah.
see how this. Oh my god! Why is there a roaster?
What we really need is a tavern that has a good therapist couch.
Yeah.
Mechanics
Like
has
you
got it
think
right.
any
Yeah.
of us have any therapy. Like,
Mechanics has got it
no.
right. It's Ari's favourite terrain though, is a tavern.
That is true.
I don't think any of them have therapy. I think they will need it desperately.
So, as
Look after
you
your mental health kits.
as you enter the tavern, from outside there's no noise. You can't hear a thing. As soon as you walk in, let me bring that up. As soon as you walk in, you're hit with noise. It's as if the doors themselves or the walling is either very well made to soundproof or magic is involved. But you walk in and there is a definite difference to the decor in here that feels very much like the elves of Vare have set up shop in a pub in the city of Ravens. And you can see that crisscross of Gothic architecture meets the Eastern Elven design, similar to the kimonos and such that Sapphire is wearing amongst his barbarian outfit. But yeah, you can see that, and you've seen Lady Akiku in the same sort of clothing. You've seen poor AJ Dalefin's.
I knew what you were going for.
I completely got. I was like, an AJ's kimono. I was like, he didn't want AJ. But yeah, in Dalefin. So you are aware that it is Velvish, but it is the Elves of Vare in decor meets Gothic Ravenholm.
An elvish pub in every town.
It is rammed in here. There are several bird cages hanging off some of the pillars. There is whatever that chihuahua noise is. There is there's a dragon outside with a chihuahua noise.
There's no such thing as dragons in Colossus.
Not with that noise. The cooking area is open, and there is a sizzling stone, and the chef is cooking away, and there are people sat around it, and there's a couple of these sizzling stones. It reaches quite far back. It is quite the size is this establishment. There are 2, maybe 3 you can't quite see, but the first 2 floors at least, the roof is the ceiling is not there, and you can see that the balconies go around, and there's like maybe 4 staircases towards the corners that like spiral up, and then you can see more staircases spiral up again. From the outside you're not surprised, the building's definitely tall enough to have a couple of floors if not more within it. The staff are very much humans, it appears. You see, no one's hiding it. You'll see ears going into a point of varying lengths. Some are very short and pointed, others a bit longer, and then others extremely long, that match Kesfion and Xandria's. The attire is Ravenholm, it's not Vare. They're all dressed as if they live and breathe Ravenholm. The customers in here are again Ravenholm natives, all from the city of Ravens. Irish pub meets spoons by the way of Elven Chain Pub. And thanks for joining the session. It's been a great night. We're off.
If spoons were involved, they'd all be wearing like borderline offensive bay outfits, the waitresses.
Yeah. But yeah, so you are aware that there is a clash of, or a warming mix of cultures within this inn.
I think seeing that, Ariel actually relax a little bit in that they don't stand out like a sore thumb. And yeah, kind of try and find a table.
The minute they walk in, and obviously the volume shoots up, Julia was actually going to cover her ears and screw her eyes shut for a moment. Just kind of like almost hunched down on herself.
Ruby
So kind of... Oh, go
kind
for
of
it.
expecting, like, she's been to the wall now, she's been to the city now, she's expecting to be knocked back because she knows she's not used to it, so she's probably closest to Xandria and just puts a hand on the middle of her back, like, nothing that might get her stabbed, just a hand on the middle of the back.
Even that makes her flinch.
As Xandria flinches, Ari, a halfling, quite tall for a halfling, maybe 4 foot, approaches you in very smart clothing with a wooden clipboard and parchment upon it, only short pieces of parchment. Good evening. Welcome to the Inn of 1,000 Names. Are you wishing a table or a seat at the bar?
If we could get a table, preferably somewhere a little bit quieter. that's possible.
Yes, we do have quiet tables. For how many?
Frantically counts.
I mean, it's not
My brain was not prepared for that question.
Just for the 5 of you?
Yes, please.
Follow me this way, please. And as you, I assume, you follow the half.
Yep.
Yep.
You notice now when they turn that their hair, that their black hair is quite long, like down to their, like just above. It goes down to the base of their back. There you go, instead of just above the ass. Calm yourself, Harry. And yeah, it's tied up in a ponytail, but it's very neatly tied up in a ponytail. It's not one of those Harry ponytails where it's just out of the way. It's tied neatly. And
I like the idea that you think that Ari has not spent hours perfecting that ponytail.
there are moments in
Let me
Harry's
do it like this. Oh wait, no, this bit
that
needs to be
it's
up here.
just
This
tied
bit needs.
up out the way. We'll go with sparring. But yeah, and you follow the halfling. They take you to a table, and you notice that this particular area, there's about 10 tables that are deliberately almost in a semicircle away from the rest of the hum and noise. And as soon as you step over the there's a small step. As soon as you step past it, a chicken calls. Why is there a chicken running around at a shuffling?
It's escaped from the kitchen.
Let me just get rid of some of these sounds.
Ruby just shoots her hands out, grabs a button.
What is that?
And that's dinner sorted.
I'll have you know I brought this with me.
My bare hands.
Right, so
You've got a point, maybe, Alex. If it was spoons, they'd have got into a fight already by now.
the tables, have people sat there enjoying their drinks and their meals, and you hear them, murmuring to one another. It's hard to make out what they're saying. There is quite a large fire towards the back of this semicircle that is warming the entire area, but you do not hear the hum of. You turn and you can see everyone busy and drinking and eating in a more open sort of sit where you want and drink where you want. But it's as if there is a arcane bubble keeping this place quieter. It's not silence, it's just quieter. This way, please, my lord. And takes you over to a table and pulls the chairs for each one of you. It could seat 10, but you obviously only need 5.
Ruby thanks him in halfling.
There's a pause, and they return, "You are welcome" in halfling.
I'll help make sure that Drea is. Oh, everybody moved. That Drea is sort of sitting comfortably, and that she's not seeming too overwhelmed. Like if there's like a more sheltered spot of the table, etc., we'll kind of guide her more towards that.
If he has to pick up and move the table to make it quiet.
Not strictly incorrect. But
Yeah, now that it's quiet, Xandria has relaxed somewhat, but it's still a little bit sort of like tense and on edge.
Once you're all sat, the halfling gives you a moment to seat yourselves and watches as you scrape the iron table across the wood.
no, he won't move the furniture
Yeah, I guess.
unless strictly necessary.
The on the furniture, it is antique as it is old and very much akin to the architecture, not the Vey touch that is elsewhere. You're seated. In front of you, there are 2 large jugs of water of a coppery colour, and there are several cups.
Jugs are coppery coloured, or the
Yeah.
water's coppery coloured?
The jugs.
Jugs.
are coppery coloured. There's blood in them,
And here we go again.
and there are 10.
Fire starts down and it's great.
There are 10 goblets of a grey clay with design on them. It looks quite ornate, but on inspection, it's kind of a rinse and repeat. So maybe the design was once upon a time complicated, but whoever's making them is doing it and churning them out. care for more than just the water or drinks and meals? A room for the evening or the week, or I will give you time. I will return, and then you see the halfling walk over to some of the other tables.
Out of curiosity, they reacted to the being spoken halfling to. Any reaction to the fact that Ruby is literally wearing clan tartan? No, fair enough. Actually, probably so is Andrea. She's wearing my clan.
Yeah.
Ariel kind of like look round. Does anyone do you drink?
No. I think I'll stick to water for now. We should probably eat though.
I'll eat before I try for any meat.
Ariel kind of like visibly relax a little bit for like the first time in about 3 days. Poor boy's been wound so tight.
I mean, yeah, it has only been 3 days. Oh, no, technically 4. Since the last time we were in the tavern.
It feels longer.
That was a lot longer.
Almost like 6 months.
Maybe even longer.
So, you're all sat. You all want food. Do you wish to talk before I bring Super Halfling back over, or do you want to order your food? I'll bring the Halfling back over. On as if by magic. The Halfling
He's so attentive.
The Halfling returns and shows attention towards Ari, or at least eye contact. Are you ready to eat or not to eat, or?
Yeah, kind of like looks round at them all like something simple, bread and like a stew.
Yes, they pull a quill from nowhere, just apparates a small cantrip, and they start writing bread and milk. No. And they start writing down your orders.
Yeah.
If you really wish to order the most sublime food, then feel free. However, they will take your order, and you will be billed 7 gold for it, Ari.
Oh my fucking god. Okay.
We're going to
Cool.
be doing the washing up, lads.
For a week.
A lot of money for a meal, jeez. I'm going to keep a tally actually of our actual gold because I'm terrible at it. Right, there we go.
It'll help when you go to a shop and you want a portion. I'm like, how much have you got? And we're like, with no idea. And I'll be like, well, that's 0.
My sheet says 100.
You go.
I
with
had
that.
100 as well, so there we go. That's
There you go.
probably what we actually had.
You've got gold.
Now we've got 93.
So
Didn't have a lot. We didn't have enough
halfling?
to buy diamonds.
the halfling wanders off, disappears behind wherever, you assume into the kitchen or wherever the halfling needs to pass the order up to. Unless you are talking while waiting for your meal, it will arrive. Whatever you have ordered is put in front of you. It is presented far better than it is in some of the taverns you've been in, Ari, or any of the rest of you. Ruby, this is probably witchcraft to you. In fact, you think they're setting a ritual up the way they're putting out these knives and forks. There's 2 or 3 of them. Another halfling, an elf, and a human. Of nondescript, they have the similar black hair. They're in the similar casual clothing that you'd expect. And they bring your food out, and they return. They kind of stand, they almost like present it, stand for a moment, and then they wander off. And you have your meals before you.
We may need to look for somewhere else for the night. Kefs will very quietly sit across the table.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ruby nods, but her mouth is already like full. It's like a little hamster over there.
I mean, it is delish.
I can, once we've had some food and stuff, I can go out and have a little look around. I'm trying to remember what other districts were close, and this is an expensive one, but we needed to rest. We
No,
need
we-
to...
Ruby still with mouth like.
What?
Just
I
ask
didn't
for
get a word of
direct-
that.
Just ask for directions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Sapphire's climbing up. Ah, yeah.
Okay.
Just looking out those windows. So what were you doing,
Well-
kids?
Whilst that conversation is happening, Xandria's just kind of like maneuvering her stew with the spoon.
I was just about to ask whether Xandria is actually eating, or whether she's like our little friend.
She's picked at the bread, like, you know, there's some chunks missing from the bread, but
Like little mouse nibbles.
then just like staring at the stew, almost like disassociating, just staring whilst moving it.
Please, Drea, you need to try and eat some of it.
I have tried. Just tastes like ash.
It's 7 gold something for each of us, so it's bloody expensive ash.
Don't taste like shit.
Yeah, it's in Ravenholm. They've never spiced anything in their lives, but you need your strength.
So as you compliment the chef,
I would imagine that they are used to, like,
This is quietly and
Gecko
silky,
meat.
but Ruby's eyes are just like bouncing between them like a little tennis match.
the summer breezes are probably used to more round the fire, spit roasty, barbecuey, share, and then spices added to that, you know, bland meat
Yeah.
sort of thing.
you're like, ah yes, I see you've put some onions on this. That is not a spice. Salt and pepper is the bare minimum, sir.
I was like, there's a lot of pepper on this.
Some carrots. Nope.
So, are you just going to finish meal and tail out, or what?
Guess
I
so.
feel like Ari's probably gonna kind of head out once he's kind of finished his food and try and like find another spot that can just basically lead Xandria to without having to drag around the whole bloody city.
Smart.
Ari, before you go, we need a game plan for this. We need to know what we're... It's quiet here, it's comfortable. I know we can't stay the night, but we might as well make use of what little privacy we have here. We might not be able to afford it elsewhere.
Okay.
Stefan is Ari's brother that we went to try and return, is stuck in the realm of echoes.
Right. So it was what, pointless?
I am trying desperately to find that it wasn't.
Stuck because a different Stefan is in this realm, which is his, and you can't have 2 Stefans in one place. So we get the bad one, and we either send him back or we look the other way while Kess does what he's been thinking about for the last 3 days.
We're not sending him back.
He's not going anywhere.
He needs removed from the board.
And when he's been removed from the board, then the right Stefan can come back to the right realm. So he's not permanently stuck, he's just waiting.
And what makes you think that we can remove him
Or we'll
Definitely.
remove him.
like we did last time?
I have a much greater incentive this time.
We haven't seen Kess use the lance yet either.
that will sort of sober the table a little bit.
Yes, Sapphire is literally like tennis watch back and forth between Kess and Zandria.
That is a quick spoon in the mouth. Oh no, Shane, you know.
Oh, this is
Oh, no,
beautiful.
this one's toffee, like I'm stuck.
Whose side are you on, Ruby? You turncoat.
If that is Kess's response of just, oh my god.
Oh
then-
no, like he's gonna just continue. Like it is what it is now in his eyes. It's on his back. There's nothing to hide. He can't. It's not a packed weapon for him. It's a lance.
It's probably for the best.
We've left the copper forest too long.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there was a copper forest still standing at this point.
There has to be something, if only for the fact that this bastard's off to try and meet with Ulrich. So at least they'll both be in the same place.
It's probably not a good thing.
No, but
Together.
we'll know where they are, and I could do my best to keep them separate for as long as possible.
We're gonna have to. It's hard enough trying to take one down, never mind two.
I was always really good at hide and seek. I'll mess them up. You never found me.
I did let you win the majority of the time.
So you claim.
Wow. Sounds like I had an interesting time after I left.
It's... We did our best with what we had. And you're back now, so...
You should tell the oak. He was most distraught. He will be very glad to know you're back.
Old Oak, upset about me being gone.
Level the harbour.
You did.
It's interesting.
Just about took the place out.
Didn't know he cared as much.
Oh... He did that. Ari might not have been the most tactful in telling him of your passing. Though I'm unsure if our oak and that oak are one and the same. But
He was a lot younger. But he remembered the last time we saw him.
He was also very aware of Zandria. But again, your interpretation.
Well, I just figured that if there was a place in which he knew us, if infinite echoes and infinite possibilities, then there's a chance that there are multiple
Oh,
oaks that
definitely,
have
100%. 100%.
I'll tell him when I see him.
Good. Well, we are a delightfully happy bunch, aren't we?
It's been a time, Drea, without you.
Looks like you managed.
Found a cleric to keep us alive in battle. You would not have liked her. She was
Wow.
happy
No, you are correct.
and perky.
Oh no, no. Having you is enough, Ruby. I don't think we could have no. Probably for the best that I didn't meet them.
We didn't need a second ray of sunshine on the party, my sister.
My apologies, as the halfling returns. Do you care for dessert?
The look at that Ari is. I don't have any enough organs for you
we-
to sell for dessert.
Can we share one scoop of ice cream?
I mean, there was like a brief flash across Ruby's face. It was like she wants dessert, but she knows better than to say yes, please.
I'm
out
just
loud.
glad we all went for Tap War, guys. Like,
You think it would tap?
yes.
Well, you do appear to be new here, but you have 30 minutes to take advantage of the table and chairs. You may chill, rest, speak, but then, unfortunately, I'll have to ask you to either drink at the bar or, I don't like using the word leave, but to vacate so we can get to other customers at the table and chairs. If you don't mind.
No problem, thank you.
Do you require anything else?
No, that's fine, thank you.
Enjoy. And the halfling walks off.
It's a new way to be kicked out of a tavern, I guess.
At least there's no spilled beer this time.
I think I'd rather have a fight.
Well, let's find somewhere a bit cheaper for the night.
Let's go.
So you leave the inn with 1,000 nips, back into the streets.
Yeah,
Yep.
unless one of them's the budget end of 1,000 names. Then
The inn
I
of
was
one
going to
name.
try and remember, like, what other districts kind of bordered on the money district. Like, what other districts might be a bit closer that might be a bit cheaper.
like
Cool.
poor adventurers.
Give me a intelligence check.
You've got
God damn it.
that.
Or plus
Alright,
one. Oh, I didn't roll that though, so, 13.
So there are two districts, wards that spring to mind, and that remind you of somewhere being near somewhere like wealthy or rich, etc. Like you couldn't pick it out on a map, but from where you are, there. Oh, well, I've lost it. What a wally! Oh, there you go. There is the Hearts, as in H-A-R-T, as in the stag. So the
Yeah.
Hearts
Yeah.
ward, and there's a Fayarch ward. They're probably the two. If you went north, you bump into the Hearts ward. If you went south from where you are, you'd bump into the Fayarch ward. That's probably as much direction as you've got from. Like I say, you've not grown up here or anything. And even
Yeah,
if you did,
just
you'd
have
be
a
hard
rough
stuck.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless I still have that scroll.
You do.
No, Ruby said that out loud to the
Okay.
rest of the party.
The half
And
walks
some
past.
bloke
You
walking
do.
past goes,
You do. I'll do. You do. Canon.
What did you say?
I
Okay.
still have the scroll.
The tree walking the scroll.
I'm not sure how much it would aid us in this moment.
If we didn't want to stay in the city, now that we came to a city so there'd be a temple, but if
I
we
think-
wanted to go elsewhere, anywhere that I've seen in this world, if we wanted to go further back to the wall or to the copper forest.
I don't think either of those are places for a restful night. Sadly.
Or if you wanted to go to Tower, apparently there's a teleporting circle there, so we could go by scroll, come back by teleport.
I think we need information as well. I think the city should have it.
And
It's just-
would it be chancing our luck too hard to try and get in touch with Romerick himself? I don't know how this works. And just kind of like gestures roughly at Ari, like this.
So in the larger cities, Ari,
This whole human
there
thing.
are runners that basically usually younglings of various races and such that live in the cities. They're not street urchin type younglings. They earn quite a few coin, basically running messages, and they don't get paid until there is proof that message was delivered, etc., etc. So in the bigger cities, not necessarily the towns, but especially like Ebendorf or the City of Ravens, that sort of thing, you there will be runners that are in various
We've
wards.
encountered a runner before, haven't we?
Yeah. So you would quite easily be able to find someone to run a physical message, or if you know people who can do magical message, or rent a wizard to do a magical message.
Rent a wizard!
In the lower rent districts, there is definitely at least one
That
rent a
dock
wizard
wards is
billboard.
definitely a wizard
Rent
there
a
selling
wizard.
their wares
Like rent a
Sure.
wizard, exorcism.
in stilettos and a miniskirt. You know what I mean? Come get your fireballs.
Busted.
I feel like we could get a message to Romerick. I think we probably want to get out of this ward first, and then maybe try and find a runner. Otherwise we'll be paying 3 gold for a bloody message.
I was just thinking, we are light on gold, and he's one of the few people we've got a bit of favour with.
I agree with you, Cass. If we can get hold of Romerick, it'd be a smart move.
It's our best chance for a safe-ish guaranteed place for the night.
Yeah. Would I know how far roughly it might be to like the
Not-
place
not
where
on that
Romerick might be?
Not on that check. You roughly know where those, like where you are in those two wards. You are aware that so the noble wards, the noble districts, there's quite a few of them. One closer to the outskirts. You can't remember if it's north or south. There is I say lower noble, but less. Their reputation is not quite as, sharp. Closer towards the docks. There is the sovereign ward, where the King Reinhardt once basically the entire district was their estate, which is not far. It's more central, but just off centre. So you could probably get there if you ask.
Oh yeah, no, he's planning on asking. Trust me, with the knowledge that he has.
But straight off, go on.
In Ebendorf, we'd come across a couple of not city maps, but stylized, like you get with the tube.
You are here, yeah.
Yeah, that's this is this
Tourist
chunk
town.
of this
So
district.
the reason,
Yeah,
and
I was
Ari-
wondering if
Ari
that
would
was
be
a
able to
thing
tell
here.
tell you this if you asked. The reason those sort of stylized maps aren't here is the ego of City of Ravens. You earn the
Fucking
right
humans.
to know your way around the City of Ravens. You either are of us or you're not. It's that simple.
Either make them lost and make everybody lost like the Fae, or just say where you are. Say.
Or just ask.
Just ask, because that's what Ari's going to do next, because he doesn't know. He's not that dumb, honest. It's pretty dumb. Yeah, he's going to kind of walk a little bit more kind of north towards sort of the Hearts Ward. And then just kind of keep an eye out for the runners, because I imagine they have some kind of uniform or something to sort of point them out as a runner.
It's less of uniform and more of the way they behave, the eye contact they make. They kind of you just get it, if you know what I mean. When someone's going to sell you something, or you get that feeling when you're walking through the town, when someone looks at you, you're like, they're definitely going to speak to me. You kind of get that. You kind of get that with
Ari's a noble. He's he
Yes.
can pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, it's easily done.
He'll kind of catch eye contact with somebody then, sort of looking. He's kind of specifically looking around for someone sort of quite young and kind of looking for that eye contact. Yeah, go on.
There is an orc that is kind of stood on a street corner, just in casual clothing, with several small coin purses upon their belt. They look very much like maybe they're not like the orcs you saw from Savai were very obvious in their orcish heritage. This orc, their skin's not as deep in the grey; it's quite pale grey. Their ears are not as prominent. They don't have tusks like you saw of the Savai orcs in their plate armor and chain. They don't have the girth of meat upon them that is usually akin to mainly because the Savai lot that you bumped into thus far are knights, so they're all massive and lift all day in plate armor. This orc looks pretty young, and they're just hanging around, and they sort of see you looking around, like you're looking, and they see you looking, and they deliberately make that eye contact, and they start to walk towards you. Hello, can I help you?
Hello.
And then they do a bit of a flourish.
I was looking to if we could get some directions towards where Lord Romerick stays.
Lord Romerick. Lord like you, or Lord like... And then just gestures towards some of the patronage. I mean, you're dressed nicely, but you've been through the realm of echoes, you've killed... Not one prestidigitation spell has been cast.
The gold sash is there.
I mean, the gold sash
It's covered in blood, but it's there.
Covered in blood, yeah.
Give me a... In fact, never heard of him. Have you got any more details? Are they...
Out of character, Mel cannot remember all the details of Lord Romerick.
So you know Lord Romerick is one of the Rabe, which is one of the council of the City of Ravens. You know this from when they were the representative of the House of Falcons at the very diplomatic meeting you all had 50 sessions ago. 50 sessions ago. Just that sentence. Jesus wept. But yes, so you are aware that the Rabe are the council of Ravens. And Romerick is one of them.
He is. Was he was human, wasn't
Lord
he?
Romerick is human. It's a very old human.
Yeah.
Straight postured, very, very polite, very of everyone. There was no discrimination.
Yeah, he was. I remember him being. He was cool. I remember him being cool. About it.
You escaped on his ship before it was sunk.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that's kind of why my brain was going, oh, let's go to City of Ravens because Romerick's there. So yeah, kind of look towards this orc and just kind of be like, he's an older human. He's on the council on the Reveille.
One of the Rabe, you say? Yes, I can. I am definitely aware of the presence and location of their district, the Sovereign District. Do you wish directions or a message, or would you care for a wagon of sorts or a carriage to carry yourself? All can be arranged for a fee. There's no there's no Del Boy about it.
He's just being like, this is what I can do.
You know, is a
I'll
menu.
kind of like look around the group and just be like, just directions should be fine.
Well, if you continue north here, then you get to the Hearts district, and then I believe head west, and you will eventually get to the high walls of the Sovereign District.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your help. How much do I owe you?
They look at your sash. A gold.
I'm a gold.
None of this persuasion around here. We've got shit to do. So you all just going to head towards the Sovereign District?
Yep.
Follow Harry.
Slowly.
But
Yeah.
I will ask
Shakily.
Andrea if she'd rather ride.
Right, what?
Well, I've
Well.
got a unicorn.
I was going to say a horse. I was like, God damn it.
I've got a unicorn.
How?
I mean,
Okay.
Don't ask me hows, I don't know.
I think a unicorn might be a little bit too
it's up.
bizarre.
The Herald of Summer rides upon a unicorn.
Do you not turn into things? Can you not turn into a horse for
Oh
her to
yes,
ride,
well,
or-
in fact, yeah. If you want to ride, then I can turn into just like a normal horse or.
It'll be less
I don't mind.
conspicuous.
That may actually make more sense than a unicorn.
It's a fucking big unicorn as well.
He's a massive. But as far as Ruby's concerned, if he's gonna drag her into a nebula and ask her bloody stupid questions, he can fucking pull his weight.
I think that's more your fault than this. Just
I
saying.
don't really wish to draw attention to us, so.
So Ruby will look around, like, she doesn't obviously want to do it like straight in front of this orc lad, so there's like, you know, a phone booth,
A
or
phone
an alley,
booth?
or
Did you just
yeah,
fill
like
on
proper
say
Superman. Superman, yeah.
You're gonna turn into a horse in a phone booth.
It's
Gonna
not
find a
the
phone
stupidest.
I
booth
don't know
on
if
the
you've
streets
seen
of the city of
Superman.
Raven.
It's not
There's
the
inventing the
stupidest thing
phone.
that has happened in this.
I mean, I'll give you that. There is unlikely, unless you deliberately go off the streets into the alleyways, that you will quickly find somewhere to turn into a horse.
And well, I'll ask Ari, like, am I gonna cause commotion if I just straight up turn into a horse in the middle of the street, or should I be?
Yeah,
Looking for a
you'd
better
cause a
rhyme.
commotion.
Well, help me find an alley or something then.
I mean, there are alleyways. It is busy. There are people everywhere.
So
That-
yeah, Ruby will, conscious of straying too far away from the group, in a place that she's unfamiliar with, in a kind of terrain that she's unfamiliar with, but she will try to find somewhere where she has no sight line to anyone else, so
Give
therefore
me
no one else can
a
see.
perception check as you take yourself down an alley and you look around to see if anyone can see you. Line of sight and such. Where is she? Where's your friend going? Does she need help?
No, we're fine, thank you.
Yes, it's okay.
I don't know, that's persuasion or perception.
Like, kind of keep
That
talking to
is
the orc to distract him.
17 total.
You have a look around. Doesn't seem to be anybody in your line of sight.
I will risk. Ruby will agonise for a moment over what kind of horse, like, because obviously, like, massive cart horse, people in the rich district are going to be like, what? So she agonises for a moment over what kind of horse that she might have seen wouldn't look too out of place being ridden in this district, and then just go for it. And that is one of my 2 wild shapes for
You
this.
turn into a horse. A horse
Yeah.
comes out of the alleyway.
It has a sort of blondish hue to its coat.
The orc does not bat an eyelid. Just simply stands there, takes their place back at the corner with their gold coin, which they put into one of their coin purses.
At least I didn't go for a giant eagle.
I mean, House of Eagle. Anyway, so Sandra, do you get on Ruby? Cool. As the rest of you walk next to the horse that Zandria is riding, and you head into the Hearts district, it quickly becomes apparent that the Hearts district is definitely either the only or one of, you're unsure even with Ari's knowledge of the city, a very, 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 very committed to fashion district. Every shop you see is fashion orientated, whether it be ball gowns, travelling gear, simple work in the docks. They have all manner, from those that only wish to spend a few copper and silver to those that wish to spend platinum and nothing else. There doesn't seem to be a segregation of this is the cheap shops, this is the expensive shops. There's quite a community feel of they enjoy what they do regardless of the level of skill involved in what they're selling. Everybody stood outside their shops and wandering in and out is pristine in whatever they're wearing. It's not necessarily the most expensive compared to where you just come out of the coin district, but what they wear is pristine. Then you begin to head west, and as you approach the high, dark iron walls of the Sovereign Ward, we're going to take a quick break, because it's 9:45. So we'll go bugger off, do a bio break, grab a drink, and we shall return in 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. So those of you still watching, still watch, or go get a drink and stuff yourself. Thank you so much so far. And then we will carry on with this lot as they, knock on Lord Romerick's door. As, why wouldn't you?
You normally
As you do.
Just,
As you do.
yeah, Zandria on a horse knocking on your door.
Got Old Spice everywhere. Look at your fair, now look at me. Now look at your fair, now look at me. I'm on a horse.
Nice.
Right, we'll be back in a sec, folks.
Heard nothing.
Eyes
No, I
and
didn't actually hear
ears
anything.
everywhere.
Ardo, folks, we're back, apparently. Right,
Hello.
so we left off with this. Oh, I didn't say it, lovely bunch of coconuts. Excuse me, I just
Diddly.
big ones, small ones, ones as big as your head. You were in the Coin District, known as the Barney District. You headed north into the Hearts District, which is completely, dedicated to the art of Ravenholm fashion. And headed west to the Sovereign District, which is these days known as the Sovereign Rabe District. For yourself, Harry. The rest of you don't care. Yeah. But as you get there, well, long before you get there, as you're pottering through, you start to see gaps between the buildings, and beyond that, it's not the skyline that you were seeing when you were looking from the Coin District and such. You see a wall, a huge wall. Not
bigger.
I've seen bigger. You definitely have. It is not like the Ivory Wall. It is of dark iron, thick, heavy stone. This wall, whenever it was made, has never ever fallen, been touched, edited, extended on, or anything since its creation. It is the original fortification wall that was when the city of Ravens first came into development, before it became a metropolis, where the Ravenholm humans built and said, we're putting this flag here and we're going to build a city. Beyond that wall, as you approach the heavy iron gates that lead into it, there are several, maybe a dozen or so guards immediately in front of the gate. You do see the small presence of guards on the wall. It doesn't look patrolled or anything. I mean, Harry, to yourself, this is a complete flip of, the Ivory Wall with armies stood upon it, and here you've got a few folk looking down going, how do? But they're dressed real nice. The dozen or so gate guard, they are dressed, in a black sort of black stained chainmail. They have pauldrons that have got a dulled silver colouring to them, but you're not convinced that the colour of the pauldron is silver. It's like it's been added. There doesn't seem to be a thing out of place with these guards. They have a very, very super deep red, at slight angles, looks almost black, trim to their clothing beneath their chainmail and such. The decoration around the gates is the almost gargoyle sort of style, but all ravens, and these some of them look hideous, again in a gargoyle sort of style, and then there's the odd few that have had a bit more effort put into, but this This flock of ravens that decorates the gate is very much a, if you're looking upon this, don't expect to walk in here as a friend unless we deem you a friend sort of mentality. As you approach, one on a horse, the rest of you walking, a tabaxi, a couple of fae, a blonde horse, and a bedraggled noble of the House of Eagles. One of the guards gives a nudge. None of them seem to be wearing helmets, which is, you know, but you get that this far into the city is very much for show. These are probably not the warriors that you'd want on your wall, Harry. And this is coming from yourself, who's quite happy to not be on the wall. But even you look at this lot and go, they look good, and let's leave it at that. But they are very proud, and they do present, you know, posture when you approach. No carriages, no heralds, no, you know, messengers running forward to say, here comes, you know, Tootie Hootie, Harry, or insert name here. But one of them steps forward. Her hair is like proper shaved at the sides and got a short, almost stereotype military cut out the way. Her eyes are the dark browns that you see a lot of humans in Ravenholm tend to have, darker eyes. And she is, she looks after herself. She holds her armour well. She stands broad in her armour. But again, there's a softness in her cheeks is a sentence I didn't think I'd say. But there is a element to her that, you know, she's not iron-jawed like the eagle lot. Greetings. And you are... And he's addressing you, Harry, because you're the most obvious Raven homie here.
Oh, she is. I'm kind of like glances around the group.
Sapphire's already grinning. Because he knows what's coming.
Yeah, there's a couple of little, like, hoofy tippy taps.
I am Aristotle. Keeper of the second wind.
He's struggling.
If Xandria's looking at Ari struggling, she's just gonna go, "My lord, will you please just hurry up? You're wasting this poor lady's time."
Poor lady looks at Xandria on the horse, nods, looks back at you.
I'm Aristotle Rycroft of the House of Eagles.
Are you the herald to the lady? And gestures towards Xandria on the horse. As you're walking and Xandria's on a horse. Bareback, just to show off.
Just like...
The horse is also laughing, like, it's not
just
possible.
Like Mr.
But, like,
Edit.
the horse is, like, legit, like, it's, like, coming out as whinnies or whatever, but Ruby is, like,
donkey on
literally
sherbet.
dying with laughter.
So Xandria is well versed in husbandry, so...
No, not the herald to the herald.
There is no flinch or recognition at your name from this guard.
We wish to speak with Lord Romerick, if that's possible, please.
It is possible, but for what purpose? Lord Romerick is a rabbi. What reason do you have to enter the gates of the sovereign?
We seek their aid.
We have information regarding the current climate.
Yeah.
And kind of retreats back and back the horse. Like, I've come to assist, and now that is all I will say.
Andrea just sighs on top of Ruby. And just kind of just nudges Ruby forward a little bit, just so she's not so much in the back, and just addresses the young lady.
She does quite a low bow, my lady. Doesn't react at all that you are clearly not a human noble, but they are convinced you are of import.
We are terribly sorry to take your time, but if you could please inform Lord Romerick that Lady Xandria Summerbreeze of the Copper Forest is here with further information on the current civil war.
There is a instant murmuring of the guards behind her at their post, just nudging each other and clearly just beyond earshot. She was already postured and correct, and as if it's even remotely possible, she becomes further shoulders back and stood to attention in the presence of greatness. Yes, my lady, immediately. Please, this way. You five here, please escort Lady Summerbreeze. And what the guards do is they wall off you lot and almost honour guard Xandria. They've just assumed your staff.
Ruby's now
upon
living
seeing
it up. Ruby's now giving it all the look at me. I am a posh horse.
I mean, they're not pushing you out the way. They've just immediately took flank to Summerbreeze, to Xandria, and they are now escorting her towards the gate.
That does assume that they have managed to get between Kess.
She's on a horse, and you're one person. They're 10. So wherever you're stood is great, but Xandria has 5 on each side of her. You can stand with them, you can fight them, but you are definitely as close to your sister as you wish to be. But even Kess is...
They will get a side eye.
I mean, in your attire, they have just assumed you are one of her guard.
They're not strictly incorrect.
They don't, like I said, they don't push anyone out of the way. They don't...
Oh, okay, like, if they're
Impose-
not being...
I thought, from what you were saying, that they had, like,
No.
walled, and it was
No,
like,
yeah,
whoa!
walled was the wrong thing. They flanked Xandria
Okay.
in an honour guard.
Yeah, that's fair enough then, because I thought the same thing. I was like,
Roll initiative, sneak attack, action surge, let's go! Stunning strike, fuck you, monk. So, and the gates are open. It takes quite a while to open these gates. They are thick as, like, almost 2 feet in thickness of iron. There is a lot of work going on behind this wall or deep in the pulley system to get this thing open. It creaks open. For some reason, I've still got the crackling fire going. There's a crackling fire following you around the...
It's just
Fancy
Andrea.
voice machine.
It's just Andrea.
It's just Andrea. She is just a crackling fire.
As you enter past the walls, there is a pause that you can't help but take as you witness a town-like landscape before you. I mean, this district, just having a look now, you can see is indeed the size of a town. It is the first settlement that the humans of what became to be Ravenholm were. It is where they started before they branched out and took the entire country landmass for themselves. The architecture here beyond the wall isn't as in-your-face, tall spires, dark iron. It is less of that. So there is an element of it, but there is an element of soft Gothic sort of aesthetic and ambience, if that is a way to describe it. The houses are not clumped together. They're still set out pretty, like, even from day dot, those of Ravenholm were on it enough to, they had ambition even when they started, so they knew that eventually their town would spread, and they built it in such a way that there was room to move, room to create channels to get to future designs of the city growing and such. But it is old and it is softer in its physical presence compared to the rest of the city, which is a titanic force of Gothic human nature. Except upon a hill, because they're always upon a hill, there is a building akin to that of a cathedral. This cathedral is definitely made after the town. It wasn't made at its creation. It was put there afterwards. It is a statement of monarchy. It is the throne room's a bit. It is where the king ruled, where King Reinhardt sat, where the family of the Reinhardts ruled from, where the House of the Falcons steward from. This cathedral is hundreds of feet wide, probably as much deep. It is tall. It reaches to the stars. for a moment think, Sapphire having a moment of I won't ask for directions, I'll climb a building. If I climb to the top of this cathedral, I'd probably touch a star or two. It is a monstrosity of a piece of architecture. Up there with a Tarrasque. The decoration across it is ravens and eagles. There are lilies that are carved into the walls as you are approaching it. Again, you're just walking up a cobbled path. Some of the cobbled path is newer than the rest, and you can imagine that over the years this old town within these walls, they kind of repair it and keep it. They try to keep it as, again, that softer aesthetic when they first set up. And as you approach, you can see lilies in the design, you can see falcons, you can see eagles, you can see the large bull horns of the House of Tor. The presence of the House of Forge here, having anvils and such, you don't really see them, but you feel their presence in the foundations of the cathedral itself. That the House of the Forge definitely had a hand in this. The presence of the Red Lady is only seen in like the two sides of the very strong wooden doors that are before you that lead into the main entrance of this cathedral, this castle type, monarch's palace, as it were. And there are two empty hooded cloaks carved into the pillars at the side of the door on either side, and the empty cloaks are facing one another. And there is almost like it's made from like black iron or dark iron, and they've got red dye and rubbed it so much into the iron that there is a colouring of red in the two hooded cloaks, empty hooded cloaks, but it's not their red. Like, you don't even notice it till you get closer, and it's kind of that add a layer, almost inked rather than painted. So you do see that very faint metallic red. No guards on the actual doors. Those that flanked you have peeled away, and the young lady guard that was the one you interacted with is now stood with yourselves. May I take your horse, my lady? You cannot. Well, unfortunately, I have to insist.
She's not a horse.
Okay. I mean.
And Xandria just gets down and looks back at Ruby. Ruby, I think your services have been fulfilled. Thank you.
Short, grubby human in place of horse.
As you the guard puts a hand on her sword hilt, just in reaction. Looks around you all, lets go of the sword. My apologies.
It's quite all right. You weren't to know.
Please, this way. The waiting halls are beyond the door, and I will send word to the Rabe to say you are here. And they push the doors open, Aragon style, slow motion. Theoden's in there getting his kit on, and the hall is it's confusing. You look back as if to say, this hall appears to be bigger than the building itself, but maybe it's just the design. The decoration and the paintings is so, and the way the roof, full on. I can't even pronounce it. Sistine, what's it called?
Oh, the Sistine Chapel.
Sistine Chapel. That sort of immaculate, over the top artwork. There's so much detail in it. It's ridiculous, probably unnecessary. But the more you look at it, you can see a story being told, and it is that of the rise of the Reinhardt kingdom into a larger landmass, into an empire. You see mountains. Ari, you can kind of follow it from what you're taught when you're a youngling. When Reinhardt once, the empire of Reinhardt once covered the Pride Mountains to the north of Heroes Rome, Heroes Rome itself, the Towan Highlands, the southern edges of Viconia and Savai, Ravenholm itself. It pushed northwest, so away from the Towan Highlands, into a Raven expanse up into swamplands, and you can now see this. There are maps and such that are kind of painted into these warriors, very exaggerated, all warriors in that Gothic plate charging across fields, and creatures with horns and spiked weaponry and such to represent demons and such. You see there's a particular part of the wall further on in the story where there is an enormous ivory dragon kind of on one part of the ceiling, and a wall being built beneath, and demons being held back by a shield of magic cast by this dragon. You see a large warrior in plate wielding a hammer with green magic flying all around it, riding a huge warhorse with a pair of wings, a black warhorse with a pair of wings that you've seen Ulrich ride before. Next to what is, if this painting was brought down to scale, it makes out as if King Reinhardt is a 15-foot towering warrior, the king that the Ravenholm Empire, needed. It's all very much a tapestry story, picturesque, you name it, it is the story version of Ravenholm's history, and all the myths and legends you've heard are here in picture form across the ceiling and ceilings of this great waiting hall. The seating area around here is very well placed out. There are leather sofas and chairs, the curving iron arms to the chairs and the legs and stuff. There are tables with, again, very beautiful jugs and goblets with intricate designs on them for water. There's water within the jugs and such. You see a few people that are definitely, excuse me, I'd go with servants, but there's this even as a noble, like even back home on the wall, you have folk that their job is to do what you see these folk doing, but they're not referred to as servants. They don't serve you, it's just their particular role. People outside of Ravenholm would say, "Oh, do you have servants?" But it's a different relationship. But you see many of the workers of this palace, this cathedral, going about. Some are making sure parts of it are clean, some are touching up some of the artwork around the walls and such, or making sure that if there's any embellishments on any of the ironwork, sorting it out. There are many doors that lead away from this waiting hall, and there is a very large staircase, maybe 30 feet wide, deep purple with green trim carpet that goes up. Again, you get to yourself, Harry, it's normal, but to the rest of you, there's nothing bright. They don't do anything brightly coloured. There is an edge to it. The flower arrangement around here there is a lot of like plum coloured flowers. There are dark petalled roses. And you see a lot of those that tend the flowers, the gardener types that are going around. Ruby, you immediately see cantrips of druidcraft being used to create these flowers that kind of flank the stairways going up, and some of the columns and pillars that are in here have these like purples and reds and not black, but they as close to black as they can get for these things. It is very much a welcome to the palace of King Reinhardt. Please sit. If you wish, or stand, is entirely up to yourself, my lady, and your staff may do the same. I will send word now. You there? And she walks towards one of the folk that just happen to be cleaning, or moving some of these sofas and chairs around to as if someone used them before and they didn't like where they'd moved them. They're moving them back. You can see they have a word. That person nods and disappears up those very large stairs, out of sight. Do you wish to converse while they're away? Staff?
Ariel kind of turns to Andrew and just be like, you've got a lot better at that. You can do the talking from now on.
I mean, surely that should be your job, Lord Aristotle. Should it not?
Surely not, Ladies Andrea.
I wonder if
You need to be
sweet
more
peas or
forceful.
something in there, but it's very dull. Something bright.
Yeah, it is. I come from a place where it's snowing all the time and there's more colour.
You see Ruby like side-eyeing the flower arrangements, like could just cantrips and pink sweet peas in there, kind of.
Don't
Did I
mess.
get in trouble?
Don't mess with their aesthetic.
Execute
It would be rude.
Not
It would be appreciated.
Not too long passes. A couple of those working there do offer drink if you wish to take it, or kind of gesture towards the jugs as if to say, do you wish for a drink to be poured? You take it or you don't, it's entirely up to yourselves.
Sapphire goes to take one and then like
Sapphire
looks to
gets
Ruby.
an absolute like laser beam. Like as soon as the paw moves, like the head whips round.
Like, he literally looks at, and then he turns to look at her, like as if for permission.
May I not die of dehydration? No.
Perish.
And then he asks the waiter, "Is it freely given?"
Yes.
He looks back at
Looking
Ruby
very
again,
confused.
Ruby now gives a small nod.
and then Sapphire will take the drink.
The older worker is very confused as to what just transpired, and they pour you drinks. Some time passes, not too long, and the same person that was moving the furniture around before returns. The guard, she has kind of taken position off to one side, kind of respectfully, just out of earshot, but close enough that if you required assistance, you could give her a nudge. And the youngster that was that went and passed word, as it were, is at the top of the stairs, and they walk to the bottom and kind of stand dead proud and look to you all. Xandria Summerbreeze, Lady of Summer, I present to you Lord Romerick of the Sovereign Rabe, and just turns. And at the top, just walking down the path, following etiquette and protocol, you see a very aged Lord Romerick. Even from here, you can see that the past few months have weighed on this older man who was already close to 3 days to retirement. They are present there again. Romerick holds himself well, but you can see there's more grey. There's more of a forced. There's more effort needed to remain like stood straight. And Romerick walks down the stairs straight up to you, and gives you a not low bow, but a bow of respect.
Xandria reciprocates the bow.
Same to yourself,
respect.
Harry. And then smaller nods to Sapphire, Kess, and Ruby.
Sapphire nods back.
Well, it's been some time. Please sit, for those of you that are not sat. And Romerick sits as if to say, well, I'm sitting, I don't care.
Xandria will sit sort of like opposite him. Lord Romerick,
Yes.
wonderful to see you again, and I do apologise for our sudden attendance in your home.
No, please, you're welcome.
It has, as you say, been some time, and certain developments have occurred.
I have a few of those myself, but you may know of them already, so please, your developments, and then I will share.
Well, we are ever so slightly out of the loop on certain aspects that have been happening within Ravenholm. As you know, time moves differently within the Copper Forest, so we may have missed out on
Yes, the
a couple of
Copper
things.
Forest. You are not as upset as I would expect, and therefore I believe one of my shares may be news to you. And looks at Kess and Xandria.
Sapphire winces, like as if he's expecting to be hit.
We
Like
have
it's
not,
oh, this is going to be bad.
we
Yeah,
have not been
Ruby
back.
is now located every single exit.
We have not been back in some time. The last we were there, what transpired was not great, and we left it in such a state to try and bring some wayward members of Ravenholm close to the wall back. the barrier between Ravenholm and the Copper Forest was far too thin, and some of the citizens had found their way into realms that they were not meant to.
You have my eternal gratitude for saving those citizens.
I
What
don't
to
know
the
if we saved
forest.
them or just put them in further danger by returning them towards the wall, all things considering.
are you aware of the wall?
Bloody day
We were
that
there.
was.
Were you
Yeah.
there when the retreat happened?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so not news to you. Well, okay, it seems that maybe I should go first, and then you can, well, we'll go from there. So the wall, I will speak of the wall first, as you were there. Shortly after the retreat, my apologies, I do not know where you have been to not know. Have you been within Ravenholm, or
No,
is it
another realm.
another realm? Okay, like that of the Copper Forest, or
Something vastly different.
okay. I'm definitely too old for this. So there is an army, if it can be called such a thing, of fiends that sit within the lands of Ravenholm. They are this side of the wall. How this has come to be, I am still awaiting messages from those of the House of Eagles. It is said that the leadership of the House of Eagles is currently unavailable, is not as worrying as it needs to be. Merely busy would be a better way to describe their time. This army of fiends is organised. They have leadership. He looks across to the crackling fire, looks back. There is they have not yet named their leaders, but they have given word to those. They sent messengers, and looks at Harry. The fiends sent word, physical messengers, into the camps and the cities of the House of Eagles. They are the Order of the Pale, and they are leading the fiends. They also have a force, a house, I do not know the terminology the fiends use, but there is a Order of the Pale, and there are those known as the Vibrant. Those known as the Vibrant are akin to those on the wall that would take up special tasks in smaller groups rather than larger forces. They are the elite, and they are chaos incarnate, from what I'm told, from those that have faced them so far. But this Order of the Pale are very organised. They have large marquees and tents set up that I can only assume is their military command post inside Ravenholm. Speaking these words is very strange to say that there is a force of fiends sat quite comfortably within our realm and not their own plane. However, the House of Eagles will need help. There is a lot of mixed emotions right now, and the Sovereign Rabe are meeting almost daily. I now turn to yourselves, Zandria, Summerbreeze, and, if I remember, Kesfion.
Indeed.
The Copper Forest. When I say is no more, I mean not as you remember if you were still passing through a veil. This magic that Ulrich has wielded against your people fully brought the realm to us and made it far easier for the forces of the northern houses to march upon it. Now, the fear your people once instilled in mine was gone when this came to be. The power that your realm gives you was no longer there, and the power that our realm gives us was very much. Ulrich took the Copper Forest, and if my information is correct, there is a single wooded cabin and a small grove around it. That is all that is left of the Copper Forest. Why Ulrich has not destroyed this, or why his forces have not burnt it down or cut it down, or whatever it is they think they're trying to achieve, I do not know. But I have heard this more than once, that this wooded cabin stays, as does its small grove. I have no way of passing on my apologies or my I have no way of comforting such news to those when their homes or homes of their friends and family is destroyed. The loss of life is immense, and here is the kicker that is causing much a meeting amongst the sovereign rabbi. Ulrich has surrendered himself to judgment of the houses, claiming what he did was needed, but we all know that there is a madness in those that claim such things. And Ulrich is currently riding here to the city of Ravens, and will be here within 7 to 10 days, assuming weather fares well as the winter creeps in upon us. I do not... Go on. My apologies.
No, continue.
Why Ulrich would do such a thing, and it was... I do not know. But it was very formal. We have his hammer and armour that he sent ahead. He has so far said, until we obviously see his arrival, he will be arriving unarmed. He will take bonds if we wish them upon him, and he will face judgment regardless of execution or outcome. If this is some sort of great ruse, we do not know. We have our people that work the shadows, and those that work in a more public space, seeking out information, or those involved in a possible hide in plain sight sort of plan. But thus far we have found none. The Knights of the Hooded Wolf that you are aware of, I believe you've seen them when we were at
Yes.
the town. They have publicly, maybe disavowed is the incorrect term, but they have publicly announced that they no longer hold Ulrich as their knight commander, and that they are the knightly order of the House of the Red Lady, or the Red Lady, depending on where you're from. Ulrich, according to his words, rides here alone. I was hoping you'd know something more about it, but it is a confusing time for us. We have fiends in the east, inside our borders. The civil war is, I'd say, stopped, but it's not. There's the House of Tor are not pushing into the House of the Forged provinces. They've retreated back to their own. The House of the Lilies have remained far in the north. There is no more conflict between the houses. I say there's no more conflict. There is no physical conflict. How we go from this, there will be definitely talks needed from many, and those that pushed will be sought out and face judgment. There is a strange time in Ravenholm. Fiends, the Fae of the Copper Forest, or what is remaining, this surrender by Ulrich, the civil war all of a sudden no longer a thing. it tires my mind, if I'm honest. Any of that I have just spoken of match up with anything you know, or?
I have a few theories on why Ulrich would be riding here and giving himself up, so to speak. And it all stems back to the Red Lady.
Please share your theories. I may bring them to the rabbi.
From what we are aware of from the Copper Forest, the Red Lady is somebody who has deep connections and ties with the Copper Forest, and those were severed. I don't know what it was that caused the severing, but it was enough to kick her out. I am in the mind of thinking that everything that has happened has been her revenge against the Copper Forest. She has instructed Ulrich and her knights to cause this attack, to cut down anyone who stands in their way, friend or foe. Because there is part of the Copper Forest that remains, a part that he cannot destroy. I fear that she has become disappointed with Ulrich for his failings and has ordered him to turn himself in and has told him that his duty is over. So whether or not this is him of his own free will or him being forced to do so by her magic, I do not know. But that is my theory. She is upset at his failings. She has rescinded his leadership, and she will find somebody else to finish the job if she does not do it herself.
Do you think she would seek aid? I say aid, an alliance with the Fiends?
I could hazard a guess. I think it's... And she stops and looks at Ari and then at Kess and goes, wrong one.
The other Stefan.
The other Stefan?
Yeah, why not tie all of the assholes in this universe together? Great. Makes sense.
You said you had informants. Has there been any words of who Ulrich has been in contact with?
Or of a boat appearing out of nowhere, seemingly.
A boat appearing out of nowhere. My apologies. We have not met. You are?
Oh, Ruby Irwin, sir, sorry. Nice.
Very pleased to meet you. And he gives you a greeting in Halfling.
It's the correct response is given. Like the formal.
Far from home, but it does not surprise me. And looks at Xandria and Kesfiel, and Ari, and Sapphire. However, there is someone that it is a strange name to me, as it does not appear to be a formal name. But there was a meeting. Ulrich met with a hooded person.
In orange?
No, it was more woodland garb. They towered above. I say towered. The word I received from those that can inform me of such things, around the wooded cabin, or not far from it, Ulrich met with a very tall figure in woodland garb, a face we could not see, but the name that came back to me is an informal one, Toodles.
Like a positively fey grin, like one that's like
Proper feral.
yeah, it's a pride and joy, but like joy that definitely is stemming from knowing that someone else is going to get fucked over really bad.
We are aware of who Toodles is.
It feels more like a nickname, but I do not know. We could not get any more of that.
If you ever have the honor of meeting them, you will call them whatever they wish for you to. And if they say it is Toodles, then you will be honored.
I will remember that. Although I hope, in the nicest way possible, I don't have to leave and go on.
You know, my theory is
Crusades.
different for
Please share, I
Ulrich.
need the more the merrier for this rabbi. It is late. Do you need somewhere to stay, by the way? It is
possible.
getting on. Yes, by all means, we will. There are plenty of rooms here. We can arrange such a thing for such esteemed guests. Sorry, Aristotle, please carry on.
I have a different theory with Ulrich. I think it's a very good theory. I just think it's completely a ruse, and he just wants to get into the city.
It has crossed our minds. But, as I said, we are unable to find an advantage Ulrich would have by being in the city. Yes, his armour and hammer is here, and we threw backwards and forwards that maybe that was just his way of getting it here, but
The dagger.
the dagger,
Did you take the dagger?
there was no dagger.
So he either still has it or it has been handed back.
Has there been any word of...
He can't have it. If he had it, then he would have taken the cabin.
My apologies. I don't believe Aristotle was saying something about the dagger, but you're speaking of the dagger. So, the dagger, you say...
I apologize. Sorry.
It is fine. It is fine. There is a lot of information. What do you mean? What is this dagger? Why is it important? Why do you all seem so off about it?
You know of my people's distaste of cold iron.
I am aware there are such materials that affect a lot of different creatures in negative ways, yes.
Some things that we tell our lets, those that are not of the faith, learn our stories, and some of them have more grounding. They had a dagger, which was made of very much the thing that these cold iron stories are told about.
A potent material that would hurt your people?
To say that it would just hurt. This killed the last Landlord in but a hit. This is potent, does not do it justice.
It's not only that it is potent against us, it also has the ability to rip open the fabrics of the realms.
Well, that is definitely an item that Ulrich did not send. You think maybe that's his way to retrieve his armor and hammer, or can he bring an army through it, or we are
He can
unaware
bring
of any forces currently
whatever
riding
he
with him.
wants through it, but I would imagine that it's no longer in his possession if he was so close to Toodles in the cabin and
How so?
did not take the space.
Do you think he would strike at Toodles? Who is Toodles?
Toodles is... I will be honest with you, Toodles is now the Jesuit. She is now the leader.
The archfey of the forest.
Yes.
There's a kind of a grin to his eyes, but without smiling. Of the archfey of the Copper Forest is called Toodles. My apologies. It's a while since I've had humour. Would it have the same? Would the dagger do the same as it did to this Lancelot you speak of?
Most likely.
And you think he gave it to her, or?
No.
Oh. Why did he not strike?
And that's what makes me think he doesn't have it.
Ah, I see.
If you had the perfect weapon against your enemy and you were within arm's reach,
He would use it.
why would you then turn back, hand over your armor, and declare judgment upon yourself and your peers?
I have no idea, Guessfield. But
You
I
say that
see.
he has turned tail to return here, but what of the armies that were in the Copper Forest?
Those that were made up from the House of Lilies, the House of the Red Lady themselves, and the House of Torv returned to their provinces. I'm as confused as you are, and of many of the folk that have sat on these Rabes these last few months. The army disbanded is not what happened. They no longer were a united force, went back to their houses, provinces, and were the armies and soldiers they were before. These which is something we do need to address, but there are these large
The pillars.
yes, these pillars of blood and some sort of dark druidic magic. I'm unsure of such things, and it is rumours from those that are out there fighting such things, so I cannot be accurate. But it was, for a while, they were fighting, the cabin remained, Ulrich handed himself in, the forces returned. Civil war, all in a space of a week or two from what I can only assume is Ulrich's victory of the forest. It was a strange time, and one we do not yet have answers for, and it is why the Rabe have been meeting and just speculating night after night.
Has there been any word of a ship that appeared through the night off the coast of Armel?
Unfortunately not. That is far reaching of our informants, and there are many ships that come into the towns along the coasts of Ravenholm. I could not tell you whether they suddenly appeared or just travelled from afar.
You will want to send note to anyone that you deem an ally, but not to trust anyone who wears the face of Sebastian Stefan Rycroft. House of Eagles.
I know the name, but I do not know the face. Looks at Harry. I don't believe. I am assuming a family member.
He'll cast Disguise Self and make himself look like Stefan.
Okay, a very close family member. I will do my best to remember the face, and do my best to not trust it.
I'll kind of drop it. He's my brother, but we were in a very strange realm.
An imposter who shares a likeness to Stefan has usurped his place here. The last we heard, he was on his way to make a pact with Ulrich. He dabbles in magics that should never be dabbled in.
You send word not to trust his likeness. Send word not to cross with him.
If you would give us the time, Aristotle, I would like those skilled enough to take a image so I can pass them across the realms and provinces of what
It's just difficult.
is he incredibly dangerous? There are many that dabble in magics.
This
You know the wizards that he's from in the House of Eagles? They were calling him a prodigy, a genius. He was doing some.
There's a light bulb moment in Romerick. Aye, that is your brother. We are all very aware of the. And he kind of giggles, not giggles, kind of almost chuckles when he says the chosen one, as he's quickly become. We are aware of. I did not know their name was Stefan or of the Rycroft line. My apologies, but many of us are aware of such an arcane wielder on the House of the Eagles. Many are interested parties to see what such a wizard can do in the name of Ravenholm.
he makes his power look like a child's.
Yeah.
Do not cross that man.
No argument here.
This was.
How do we counter such a powerful entity if it is as powerful as you say?
You don't. But you cannot trust a word from that man's mouth.
You are responsible for me being able to have this conversation right now. I will trust your word.
When you send word, send the image. We want to speak to the Swordmaster. They may not know who he is, but if the Swordmaster can...
Which swordmaster?
His. Master as in tutor.
Are you nodding at Aristotle?
Yeah.
Your swordmaster?
Nikolai.
If he is out there, if he can be found.
Nikolai is still going. That old dog.
He's.
I mean, that is
He-
accurate.
He is the only one who can stop him, and he should
Nikolai?
hopefully be with him. Yes.
He's gotta be...
Nikolai has in his possession the one thing that can be used to write his presence here.
I see. Not just the skill of blade. Okay. I mean, I was a very big fan of Nikolai's in his tournament days, and he's won me a fair amount of silver and lost me a fair amount of silver. But yes, if this wizard is as you say, then Nikolai will need more than his charms and rapier. I can offer you as much hospitality and aid as is possible, but we are really looking to not be annihilated by an army of fiends. I understand that the Copper Forest is a realm that is... Save the microphone.
Copper Forest is anti-microphone.
Is anti-microphone. But It is a realm, as far as our military commanders are concerned, lost, and therefore we need to put our resources towards the fiends.
Freebie has a sudden. Oh. If you have those who are learned, if you want to learn more about them as fiends, when they die, they leave. And I have some, and she's like rummaging through the pack looking for that little vial that was taken.
The like thick ash
way
ward,
back,
yeah.
way back when, maybe a week ago tops.
Yeah.
After we fought some of the pale men in the wall.
You've got the thick ashen ward paste in a jar.
Yes.
Yeah. Text the jar off you. You there? Just someone comes over.
Don't hand me things. I have
Yes,
people that
yes.
do that for me.
Please hold this for now. Don't go anywhere.
Don't open it and don't get it on
This poor young gardener is just sat there. Thank you. We will. Well, any help is greatly appreciated. I don't know how you're feeling, but it is the evening, and I tire quicker than I used to.
Quite alright. I think we are all quite tired ourselves.
You are more than welcome to, as I say, and just kind of gestures at the nearest workers there to be like, and says it loud enough that they go, okay, we need to sort rooms out for these people. But you have rooms for as long as you are needed. If you require the resources of the city within, obviously, reason, I cannot supply you an army, but I can give you passage, as it were, or a symbol of my permission. I don't like saying permission, but I can give you tokens that will allow you to. And
Thank
it
you.
looks
No
at
problem.
Aristotle to put it on my tab and gives you a little punch on the shoulder.
That would be greatly appreciated. I think we were running Ari's tab a little bit high.
There's only one Rycroft I ever knew to pay their bills, and unfortunately they passed. Again, there's a bit of a smile on behind his eyes.
Harry kind of grins back at him. Sounds about right.
It's like the old school all know each other, but the new generation don't mingle. Goddamn internet. So I will retire unless you have anything else. I have a lot to think on. They are possibly wanting a meeting of the Rabe at midnight tonight, but I need time to think on what we've shared and discussed. So I will. Ladies Andrea, the rest of you, take care of yourselves, and just gestures towards the waiting staff that are ready to take you to the guest rooms of this cathedral/palace. And Romerick heads up the stairs, disappears out of sight. The guard looks across. Anything else, my lady?
No, thank you.
And I bid you a good evening. It has been a pleasure meeting you all. Just nods at you all in turn and bows to Lady Andrea and disappears out the cathedral. This way, if you don't mind. And then the staff kind of lead you down to the guests, all the way down there, on the walls, on the ceilings. Again, it holds to that Gothic aesthetic, but there's also displays of great deeds that you can imagine on any throne, monarchy, sort of. If guests are in their house, they would like you to see how great their monarchy is. Some of it's recognised from what you've heard on the wall, blah blah. Ari, you kind of, again, spotting your history lessons. There is a one that does perk you up a little smile, as towards the end of the guest room corridor, there is a very much in their heyday dueling master with a rapier and long dark hair tied in a ponytail behind, facing off what can only be described as 100 warriors with swords. It's not a bad likeness, to be fair, of Nikolai in his heyday. Clearly a, at least once upon a time, celebrity among the city of Raven. many of the Tonys. Your rooms, if you so wish to have a single room, it is your option. If you're sharing rooms, it can be arranged, etc. For a moment, every one of you, including yourself, Harry, this is wealth beyond anything any of you have ever experienced. You compare it to all the possible, say leaders, but the possible, those that would require more because they have a higher status than yourselves in whatever cultures you are from, times 10. You kind of, like, the High Chief's Marquis, for instance, you know, this is that above and beyond, but for guests. It is an empire that never died, so you can imagine that there is still wealth in this Raven home, even though it does not have the landmass it once had. Huge four-poster beds, silks and stuff draping around. It is a wonderful mimic of... they're all mimics.
I was going to say, mimics,
It's a wonderful copyright of Curse of Strahd. And your beds are there for the evening. If you wish to discuss, etc., etc., let me know. If not...
I was going to say, Xandria just looks at Cass and goes, "You're not going to let me stay in a room on my own, are you?"
He's in bed next to you. No. Swords out.
If you wish some privacy, you are more than welcome to it, sister.
Thank you. And Zagreus just makes her way to the closest room.
Yeah.
Steps in. Just shuts the door.
So Xandria has her own room. What about the rest of you? I know it's a difficult decision.
We'll take Kess will take his own room.
Guess got his own room. Ruby, you bunking up?
If that seems to be
Yeah,
the
I think
consensus, Ruby
Sapphire
will.
will as well.
Cool. So you all
I mean,
have your
she's
own room.
legit sleeping on the floor. But
I mean, you sleep where you want to sleep. Even the carpet, you're like, motherfuckers, this is
It's
comfy.
too close.
Harry, they all take their own rooms.
should have let them take me to the stables.
I think even the stables, you'd be like, it's too much. It's too much. How many horses? All your companions, Harry, have disappeared off to bed. You're out and there's a bit of a foyer, like a sitting room, where these guest rooms all like span off. Plenty of cushions and low sofas and such. Decoration of your entire country's history and such. Obviously exaggerated ever so slightly. Riding dragons.
I think he'll kind of keep kind of walking around the kind of looking at all the history bits around kind of thing. And like not kind of needing anyone's help or anything. Like if anyone kind of approaches, just like, no, fine, like, and kind of just keeping an eye on Xandria's door.
Give me a perception
Trying
check.
to be subtle about it, but
Give me a perception check.
Not even in that fucking room. Already fucking gone.
Out the window.
read these
Out
dice.
the window.
That is a 23.
Cool. So you do hear the click of a door opening behind you across, like I say, it's kind of circled, and then you've got these guest rooms that pop off, and you hear the click of a door, and you turn just out of curiosity because you're the only one there really. The workers have gone. Door clicks open. Door opens, and stood before you in just a like nighttime attire, like they're getting ready for the sleep. You see long hair, shaved head, a scar on their face. You see Elva. And we're going to call it there. I love my job! So.
Even the cat is like, well. I just looked at him, he's like, yeah.
Thank you very much for those that have tuned in. I'm so keen for next Tuesday already. I really am.
Not a word you should say.
You could have got to that bit earlier. I was just letting you guys dictate the pace. So, Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I love it. I love watching these lot do stuff. I love your lot's chat, so it's much appreciated to the players and to the chat. Thank you so much. We're coming up to Christmas of 2021. I'm really looking forward to Christmas. There is a good chance that over Christmas we won't be continuing the Tuesday session that you're used to with Fables Among Titans. We might do a couple of one-shots just so we can all chill out, not have to cry through December and beat up Santa and the elves.
Didn't cry today, that's a turn up.
If you think a one shot can't make Mel cry, you're not.
I was
trying
gonna
hard
say.
enough.
But we will let you all know. So but we are definitely on next Tuesday, unless obviously things happen. But we're on next Tuesday. Please join us. If you enjoyed what you see, follow, notifications, all that palaver. We throw it on YouTube. Follow us wherever you need to follow us, and if you like what you see, keep coming back. It's great. So we always end up with double figures, and it's super humbling. So thank you very much. But for now, say goodbye, players.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Bye,
players.
See you later, folks. Thank you.